Hey everybody, welcome to Friar Territory. It's part of the Foul Territory Network. I am Darren Smith alongside Marty Caswell per usual. And the third member of our team. He's sort of a jack of all trades. You never know. We could start the show with him or we can end the show with him. Or maybe he just comes on in the middle of the show. You never know. But Kyle Hart, who's a pitcher with the Padres, spending some time with us here on Friar Territory as we get rolling. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube. Wherever it is that you get your audio podcast. The Padres have won 3 straight games. They will face the Brewers as we are recording for the second time coming up on Tuesday night. Kyle Hart, welcome to Friar Territory. Thank you very much for starting the show with us.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, that's a good intro. I would say Mason Miller lives down the street, though. We might want to end the show with that guy.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, I like that idea. I mean, you never know. I didn't know until a couple minutes ago that we would start the show with you, but like I said, you do a little bit of everything, Kyle. How's life treating you? Tell us a little bit about the experience of 2026 from your standpoint, being a part of this team, the ups, the downs for you personally, for the squad itself. It's been an interesting year to say the least.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like where we're at right now, especially as a team. For me personally, started off all right, spent a little bit of time in El Paso. Obviously, kind of come back up just really to cover Mason on his bereavement list, and then was lucky enough to pitch well, and a couple other injuries and things popped up, so I've just kind of ridden that out. But I think last night was. One of the more fun games that we've had, and kind of encapsulates like where we're at as a team. It could be a roller coaster of a game, but we're gonna try to find a way to win it.
I remember when you got optioned to AAA, and I remember specifically something that your manager Craig Stammen said, which was, we told Kyle Hart he is a big league player, but this is baseball and it becomes a little bit of a numbers game, and he's got to explain that decision to you, and sometimes you wonder if that's just a little bit of lip service, but from Craig Stammen's experience, right, having performed in that role, it sounded really sincere. And I know it's easy to say that sort of stuff. I don't know that it makes Kyle Hart or anybody else in that situation feel better when you're the one on the airplane to El Paso. But I wonder if you could talk to us a little bit just about what that might have meant from his standpoint when he says this guy's a big league pitcher. He should be pitching in the big leagues. He will be back pitching in the big leagues at some point, but yet you're the guy that's ending up packing your bags.
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear, with our roster construction, especially the bullpen side of it. Like, so, where's the flexibility at if a move needs to be made? And AJ and Josh, they were very clear when they re-signed me. Part of my re-signing was the flexibility, and so I was appreciative of just the upfrontness that I received when it happened, and it really wasn't a big deal at all. I wasn't pitching bad, but I wasn't exactly tearing it up either. So there were some things I kind of went down. The familiarity with the AAA coaching staff helped a lot. So we just kind of hit the ground and worked on those things. And like I said, opportunity opened back up and was able to kind of come back up and just jump right in. So I knew more than likely coming into this year I would spend a little bit of time down there. Hopefully that time has been filled, but it is what it is, and like you said, it's the business of this game.
Kyle, I remember a comment you made, I think at the last homestand after one of your surprise starts, when you mentioned that there was a time when you were optioned to El Paso last season and you were in a very dark place. And Craig Stammen, who was a special assistant to AJ Preller at the time, really got you out of that dark place. Could you explain to us what happened at that time and what you were feeling and what Stammen's role in all of this?
Yeah, I don't want people to take dark place wrong. I was just kind of down on myself, and not so much even from a baseball side. Just you get sent to El Paso. My family stayed back in San Diego, so I think it was more so being away from them for the first time in a while, and you're not where you want to be. Your career's not going the way you want it to go. I think that's the tough part of it. But I didn't know Craig really well, and he came down, watched me pitch. I struggled mightily, was still starting at that point, and um, he could tell that I was not competing the way I needed to be. I was just out there throwing, hoping things would go well, and that I could find myself back on a big league roster. And he kind of lit that fire, helped me regain that perspective. And then simultaneously we started to make some mechanical changes and stuff. And so just him coming down there and not going through the motions as a special assistant, like, hey Craig, we need you to go down there and check on some guys. Like he came down and was willing to work and to see like who needed help, who needed to look at some things differently. And I was certainly one of those guys. So um I was really appreciative of it, and it quite frankly helped me kind of get back on track.
You've had quite the unusual journey in baseball. Really, it's an incredible story. You make your debut with the Boston Red Sox, excuse me, and then you don't see the bigs for years, and you get your chance for the Padres. What is it like for you every single time you get an opportunity to walk into a major league ballpark and for them to call upon you?
Yeah, I think I use the word perspective again because I really think I do a good job of not taking it for granted. With how close I was to probably being out of this game. So every day that I get to spend time with these guys in the clubhouse, on the plane, if we go golf, or if I'm just sitting back, watching Morahone throw the eighth inning, like I don't take any of that for granted. It really is one of the best jobs you can have, and a really special part for me is just bringing my family along and getting to experience the things that we've gotten to as a group has probably been one of my favorite things because like I said, I was really close to probably being done and so every day is a blessing.
When you mentioned close to being done, I don't know if that's because of surgery coming out of college or something along the professional way, but I think people know also a part of your journey has been pitching in Korea. How did that happen? If you could tell us a little bit the Cliff Notes version of how Kyle Hart ended up pitching successfully, I guess winning the equivalent of the Cy Young Award in Korea. How did that all come about for you?
Yeah, that's a long story. That's a whole nother show. But the Cliff Notes basically I got on with Tacoma in 23 as a depth piece in AAA, and that's where this particular Korean team scouted me, and I was throwing 89, 92 maybe, and had no offers in the 24 off season, not even a minor league offer. And the NC Dinos reached out to my agent. We kind of struck a deal. Obviously, I didn't have a whole lot to negotiate, um, and went over there. Probably the biggest cliff note is they helped me with the sweeper quite a bit, um, and that pitch propelled that season for the most part, and then had helped me get back over here. In my opinion, obviously did some other things really well too, but was able to stay healthy, throw 160 innings, and learned a new pitch. So that was really crucial.
And the Korean Cy Young Award, I hope I'm going to go right here. The Choi Dong Won Award, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, you should Google that man after this and look at the career that guy had. I think he
Uh,
in one of the Korean series. It's a 7-game series. I think he threw 3 of the 5 games or something, and they were all complete games. I seriously, you should look him up though. He's crazy.
where is that award? Is that within arm's distance? Do you have it with you, or is it somewhere
No,
else?
I do not. I do not. It's in Cincinnati at home. Yeah, I wish. It's really
Okay.
cool.
Before we take
Yeah.
this first
Okay.
break,
Cool.
Kyle, can you give us what did you learn any Korean? Did you have a phrase?
Um, my favorite phrase is "수고했습니다," which is basically what you say after a game, whether you win or you lose. You say "수고했습니다," and that's just a quick way of saying like, "Hey, we worked hard today. Way to play hard." So I say it to Mooney every day. We say it whether we win or lose.
Muni's a character. He's
He
he
is.
is sneaky funny. I love
Yeah.
talking to that guy.
I'm sure he does
Great play last
appreciate
night.
that. I'll stick around here for a second. We do, want to talk a little bit about the Brewers, about the season, and continue this conversation. We'll take a quick time out here on Friar Territory. We will return. Kyle Hart, pitcher with the San Diego Padres, will hang with us here for a couple of more minutes when we return after this.
Many people have this problem. I want to eat healthy. I have the willpower. I don't have the time and the organization. I need help. What do you do?
I mean, you go to Factor. I got 2 boys that are looking for the gains, and they always come in the house I'm looking for food. Now they have actual healthy food that is great for them. And you know what? It's ready in the fridge for them to pop in and make it right away.
And they have meals built around your goals. It could be weight loss, overall nutrition gains, more protein, fresh, never frozen, over 100 rotating weekly meals, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian. I get all kinds of different salads from Factor that I love. Quick, easy. They can be ready in 2 minutes. Head to factormeals.com/foul50 off and use code FOUL50OFF to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until 9/27/2026.
All right, back with you. It is Friar Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe on YouTube, wherever it is that you get your audio podcast. We appreciate some more of his time. Kyle Hart hanging with us here today. 31 games pitched for the Pods in 2026. 4 games started, 5 games finished. So it's just funny to look at the stat sheet, see guys like Kyle and Wandy Peralta and some of the unique stats that the Padres have just had to build through here this season. Before we just look ahead, I just have one quick question, because I know you went to Indiana University, which defending college football champs, all of a sudden a college football power. I grew up thinking about Indiana as a basketball school. I know they're a really good soccer school. I work for the Major League Soccer team here. I think there's more Hoosiers in MLS than any other university. You also, though, were teammates with Kyle Schwarber when you went to Indiana. You guys were on the team together for a couple of years. How did you end up at Indiana? Tell us a little bit about that experience. And obviously everybody knows what Kyle Schwarber's become in this league.
Yeah, actually, the reason I got to Indiana was Schwarber. We were playing summer ball together in Cincinnati for a couple years, and he had a few school. He was almost going to be a Big Ten football player. I mean, he was an unbelievable linebacker, but he chose baseball. Indiana was one of his top schools, and he signed there really early, like early junior year of high school, which is late now for the recruiting process. But back in that year, it was pretty early. And he told me, "Hey, you need to check this place out." I was like a lanky lefty throwing 85 to 86, which back then again was not terrible. And I went over there. They offered me a small scholarship and ended up committing. So he was the reason I got there, and then we played 3 years together. I stayed 5 due to injury, and he got drafted in 2014 and had a crazy quick path to the big leagues and has never looked back.
Yeah, and now here he is, right? Like setting all sorts of records. What he has become in this league is absolutely incredible. Kyle, to the here and now with the Padres.
He's the same player too. Sorry to cut you off. He's the same player since we were 16 years old. Like, he didn't get drafted out of high school, and there was 40 rounds. I remember being some middle of nowhere tournament in Ohio, and he did not get drafted. And I'm like, if this guy can't get drafted in a 40-round draft, I'm not going to ever play. And he's been the same guy. You could ask him. He's the same hitter, just the same amount of power. He had more speed back then, but
light tower power, man.
His chip is real, huh?
Places I've never seen at Petco Park. Like I've just seen him. I'm sorry to you, Darvish, but I've never seen a ball go as far as that at Petco Park, and he's done it in other parks as well. So yeah, he's definitely a character here, and really a symbol of modern baseball as well. Kyle, this team now passed the trade deadline. You started 4 times this year. I think it's so interesting that you've really become a glue guy for the Padres. In an era where we often think that players want to have defined roles. I need to know what my role is, right? Because that's how I'm going to best perform. Your role is like, hey, I don't need it to be defined. Tell me if I'm going to start. Tell me a couple hours before the game. What do you need me to do in the middle? What do you need me to do today, tomorrow, wherever? Which is really, it's a lot different and contrary to everything we've learned about baseball players. Now we're through the trade deadline. Tell us what it was like for the team, that run that you went on right before the deadline, and then watching a couple of starting pitchers come walking through the door there. Obviously, Casey Mize, we saw what he did last night. We'll see Robbie Ray for the second time on Wednesday. What does that mean inside of a clubhouse when you guys fight your tails off to put yourself in a position that your general manager goes, yes, like, we're going to invest in this team?
Yeah, so let me start with I think Craig told me in spring training my role was going to be a Swiss Army knife. So none of what's happened this year has been a surprise at all. Does it make it easy? No, it doesn't make it easy. But I knew that this was going to be the case. I think, the trade deadline, this is kind of my first experience of really like seeing it up close. Obviously, I think last year I was in El Paso during it. Um, I look back at that Marlins series, those swings that Manny and Jackson took. I was sitting in the bullpen down there watching those. I think it was back-to-back home runs to win the game, basically. And that's kind of when I knew, like, hey, we just battled our butts off this 10-game road trip. It didn't start well. It ended well. This could kind of be the switch that we needed, and I think it was, personally. And then, Preller got aggressive at the deadline and brought in two really, really good arms. Obviously, we saw it last night. I think the biggest thing for me that I've noticed, professionalism that those guys have brought, um, is amazing. And you're not going to get to know them in one day, and I think it's a slow burn. But so far they've been really great, and just watching them, the way they do things, the way that they go about their daily stuff has been something that I've learned from, and something that's going to be great for us moving forward.
Kyle, I know that we're scoreboard watching. I'd imagine that you guys are as well. But how big was that win last night? And if you're looking up, you see, the D-backs they were blowing away the Rockies. The Phillies had already won that game. But to win the way you guys did, a good start from Casey Mize, a rebound start, a huge home run from Jackson Merrill, who's just been on a different level lately, and then Mason Miller and Morhone doing what they do. I feel like that was like a signature win for the Padres.
Yeah, that was definitely kind of classic Padres right there, especially against a team like that. The way they throw the ball. I mean, really the way they do everything. It could be a tight one, and obviously their guy was really, really good, as he has been. So that's what it's going to take, is a swing like that. You get a one out knock and a homer, and then you got to take advantage, from our end in the bullpen, and we did that. So. I think when you're facing the Brewers, it's going to be tough again tonight.
Yeah.
They got one of their guys going, and their bullpen's probably back to strength. So um, I can't be more proud of Jackson, and just how well he's stuck with it. I know it didn't start well for him, but the process hasn't changed, and now he's starting to see some results. And I think the whole team is just so happy for him, and ready to just roll when he rolls.
Last thing, Kyle, you mentioned in Miami you were sitting next to Mason Miller, and we've loved watching Mason and the whole bullpen. I mean, it's truly one of the great strengths in the sport. He sometimes, he's got to get ready quickly, right? Because you guys have had some of these late inning comebacks. Seventh inning on Monday night, we've seen it in the eighth inning, right? For all of you guys, what is that like when you're there, right? And I'm sure you guys are chatty a little bit. Baseball's kind of a long game. What's it like though when the switch gets flipped for you, for him, for guys in that bullpen, when it's like, okay, red alert, time to go?
Yeah, I mean, part of my growing experience has been learning how to flip the switch. I always said when I was starting, I don't understand how the relievers do what they do. I felt like I needed 30, 40 minutes. You need all this prep time and everything. So learning how to flip that switch has been key for me. And I've learned it from guys like Wandy. I mean, watching Wandy is really been a big learning piece for me, because he's been that Swiss Army knife too for us this year. Um but Mason and Morahone are so good at it too, to where they can be present with you, and then all of a sudden you get that two out home run, or that two-run homer, and Morahone's in the game like 10 seconds later. So they have that ability to be so even keel, but they know in the back of their mind that one swing, a couple at bats, and this game can get flipped on its head. And then, but that's that level of professionalism that we kind of try to carry down there. Mason brought it over. It's not like he learned it here. He had it. Um, but they also have that sixth sense of, they know that at any point things can change, especially with our offense. And so they never really kind of count themselves out.
Wait a second, really,
Perfect.
really quick to clarify there. So it's a difficulty in flipping a switch in that situation, but you can flip a switch the day of and get a text message and find out that you're starting. That to me
Well,
is
you have hours. You still have hours, even when you get the text.
right. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Good
Why
deal.
don't you want to know, by the way, the night before if you're starting? Is it just something
That's
like
a
you'll,
good
you'll
question.
lose sleep?
No. So they give me some of these guys give me a hard time about it, but really what it is I'm in the bullpen. I'm in the bullpen, and a couple of times, like I've been getting ready to pitch in that night's game, and then we win or we lose or whatever happens, the game's over. The last thing I want to do is come in from the game we were just playing and be like, hey, get ready to pitch tomorrow. You're starting. Like, I need give me a few minutes, So, like, I just like to kind of decompress, think about the game we just played, come down off of, whatever you were feeling, and then wake up the next day, reset, and go from there. So it's kind of it's just like a clean slate thing for me.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to feel like you're pitching the same game 2 days in a row,
Right.
Yeah, like give me a break here. I got to feel like there's a little bit of separation. It's not just this one
That's
long ass baseball game. So I think that makes a ton of sense. This has been a pleasure. It's been our pleasure, Kyle. Thank you very much for taking the time. We've certainly enjoyed watching you pitch and all the different roles that you've been asked to perform in, and we appreciate it. Thanks very much. Good luck, and we're enjoying the run here. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you guys so much. Had a great time.
Thanks, Kyle. See you at the ballpark.
Kyle Hart, everybody, pitcher with the San Diego Padres, who again has been a glue guy, Swiss Army knife, whatever term you want to use. We appreciate it, and we will be back. Joe Musgrove spoke at Petco Park on Monday. We'll hear what Joe had to say when we return on Friar Territory.
People, dehydration sucks. Quince electrolyte stick packs to the rescue. I order them. I use them all of the time.
Listen,
See this?
as somebody who may or may not have had some adult beverages in their life, the next day, you know what flavor I like? Watermelon. And I don't like watermelon, I'll go raspberry. And it helps me to get my citrus salt in. But if I do, it helps me to get back to normal, feeling good and ready to go the next day.
Yep, tough workout or dry mouth in the morning, whatever it is, this is going to help you out. Quince always has the best deals for you. You can go on their website and see a number of products. We're talking about not only a product that tastes great, but has zero sugar options that are also stevia free. Give your body what it really needs to stay hydrated. Go to quince.com/foul for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/FOUL for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/foul. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All right, welcome back to Friar Territory. Darren and Marty, thank you very much to Kyle Hart for joining us. A
Good
rare
stuff.
baseball player who's up early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I've been taught throughout the years a couple things that Kyle Hart seems to be in defiance of. One is everybody's got to know their role, and the other is these guys never want to do interviews before 10 o'clock in the morning. So we appreciate that. Padres are 63-57. It was a fun game on Monday night against the Brewers. Jackson Merrill hits his 19th home run, 3 straight games for the third time in his career. So really one of the most dangerous players offensively in baseball right now is Jackson Merrill. Not hyperbolic to suggest that. Still one game back because Arizona and Philadelphia won, so the scoreboard watching continues. Unfortunately, you're not only playing the schedule, you're also playing the calendar, because every day that comes off the calendar, when you're outside looking in, you get closer to the finish line. So, not cause for a 5-alarm fire here today.
Had to win that game.
Had
to win that game.
Had to. Harrison Buehler, pretty good matchup on Tuesday. Then the day game, May versus Ray.
May.
Freddie Fermin.
May. You can't wait for that game. May versus Ray.
I'm very excited.
I know.
Ray, day game, Wednesday, May, Ray. Yeah. Somebody who's more creative than I will come up with a limerick for that, I suppose. Casey Mize, I got to give Marty some credit here on a different platform. She predicted that he would have a quality start, and he did. Although, listen, quality starts, you can laugh at that all you want. Padres don't exactly have a ton of them. So getting one of them and bouncing back from his first appearance with the Padres, I thought was really solid for him.
Totally agree.
Had a hiccup, had a walk, which he was ticked off by, then the home run from Yelich, who ambushed him. I thought he had a great explanation for that after the game. If you want to go back and you can find all that. Freddie Fermin looks all of a sudden now like he's feeling himself. He threw a couple runners out on the bases.
To end the game. One to end the game.
Former Padre Brandon Lockridge, right? I did not realize that he is leading the league in caught stealings.
I did not realize that either.
Freddie Fermin is, if I've read that correctly. That he's thrown out 17 batters, which is more than anybody else in the sport. So, Yeah, I mean, it's a big test, and we'll see what happens because, it gets a little more challenging with the starting pitcher tonight for the Milwaukee Brewers, but you have to always feel good when you win the first game of the series. Also, Marty, there seems to be some good news coming out of the bullpen or out of the clubhouse, which is that Joe Musgrove, who just had his second rehab start, was available for some commentary on Monday afternoon, and Joe is starting to sound and look like Joe.
He cannot wipe that smile off his face. It's a completely different situation than what we spoke about earlier regarding the Nick Pivetta, who we know is not going to make it in time for August 22nd. The bigger question with him is, does he even pitch this year? With Joe, it seems like their Padres are making real progress towards an actual timeline. So if you like, here's just a bit of Joe Musgrove from yesterday following his second rehab start, which happened in El Paso.
Good. I think I was sitting around 94. I think I hit a couple 5s and 6s. So really consistent. I don't feel like a huge difference as the game goes with my stuff fading. Maybe just the fatigue of the up downs, having not experienced that in a little while. But by no means do I feel, beat down or, achy or painful in my last outing or my last innings of these outings. I feel like I'm getting stronger as the game's going and starting to find that rhythm. So all good signs.
Do you know what's next?
I don't. It's going to be a rehab start. I don't know where. Don't exactly. I would assume 5 days from now. But it's always kind of reassess after we get through today and see how I feel. And I'm feeling great today. So see what's next for me.
Do you have any indication how built up they want to be pitch-wise before you join this team?
I've talked to AJ. Nothing's really set in stone, but I don't think he's looking for another 3 to 4 inning starter. I think he wants, a starter that can pitch postseason games and somebody that can give us some length down the last month or so of the season. So that's ultimately what I want. I want to get back in games. So if it was getting back sooner at 3 innings, I would take that. But I think having the assistance of Robbie and Casey, showing up at the deadline gives us a little bit more leeway to stretch those guys out a little bit more and give myself and Nick and give us the time that we need to get built up to a normal starting depth. So I'm hoping, one more start, maybe back here at 75, 80 pitches. I think I threw around 55 yesterday, so significant jump. It's usually a 10 to 15 pitch jump every outing, so doing the math, it sounds like 2 more, but maybe 1 more if I'm super sharp.
Yeah,
Doing the math.
that's usually the formula, Marty, for spring training, right? Is your first appearance, it's usually 30 pitches or somewhere thereabout. Then you go to 45, then you go to 60, then you go to 75, and then you sort of sit around 75, and then it takes 6 weeks for everybody to be up to speed, hopefully, fingers crossed, and then you start the season. So, that's why spring training is as long as it is because, you got to build the pitchers up. And so that makes a ton of sense. I also was interested because I was going to ask this since you've seen him, and I don't know that there are these kind of metrics available. What kind of pitcher is Joe Musgrove? Is he just going to come back and he's just going to be Joe Musgrove, who we know for a four-seamer and a little bit of a sinker and a slider and a sweeper? Like what kind of pitcher is he going to be? So when he says his velocity was up there at 94, he was averaging 93 plus, I think in 2024, 93 plus in 2023, somewhere thereabouts. So I have it in front of me here on Statcast.
That's where he was at also in his first rehab start.
93 home. So, those are, that sounds like it's going to be Joe Musgrove, that we're not going to expect some different version of him. Now, can he go from 54 pitches to 70? It sounds like he's going to dangle that carrot in front of himself and see if he can, figure out a way to convince his president of baseball operations and the general manager that, sooner is better. Where exactly he slots in is anybody's guess. But
the good thing is they don't have, and he knows it as well. They don't have to rush him back. And hopefully you got a much better return from Casey Mize yesterday. Hopefully we'll see that from Robbie Ray. It's tomorrow, Wednesday on Wednesday. But now you have a bit of a semblance of a rotation. Now, well, it'll be interesting to see what Walker Buehler does tonight. I know he's irritated that he's not getting them long deep into the games, but that's not why he's here for. But for Joe Musgrove, they want to build him up. They want length from him when he comes back.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I love Joe. That.
I know.
But everybody's a 4-inning pitcher in the playoffs. That's just the way the playoffs have become.
Yeah.
I know it would be great if you can get a guy to give you 7 innings every game, but it's not really the way the sport is, especially with the bullpen. These managers now, they manage these postseason games, right? Like we have guys that assume different roles. This dude comes out of a bullpen. Wait, that guy's a starter. Well, not today. So, who even knows? These formulas are totally upside down. It
Well,
is
Darren,
bizarre world
the
of
Padres
playoffs.
and Craig Stammen found some success with these bullpen games. So don't tell me that, should it come to that Craig Stammen would not be tempted to maybe throw a little bit of wrinkle at someone and go with a bullpen game just to mix things up a little bit, right? Keep them all guessing.
That's what I mean. Everybody's like a 5-inning pitcher at best in the playoffs. Unless you're the Dodgers last year, I suppose. But that's a totally different story. Well, that's good to hear, Marty. And like I said, I mean, it's good to hear, and it's good to see the results. Obviously, the amount of innings, the amount of pitches, and all that sort of stuff. But I think you would agree. We don't know Joe. I don't claim to know him. I'm not friends with him or anything. But I think this is Joe Musgrove. Like you can tell, like his body language, the confidence with which he's speaking. There have been a lot of times where Joe's like, I'm not so sure, man. I'm just not, it's unclear to me, like what it is, where I am in this process.
He's feeling it.
On this journey back to the big leagues. And now when I watch that video, that's Joe. Like that's Java Joe. That's Joe Musgrove. He's starting to look like himself, sound like himself, carry himself in a way that I think we all had gotten used to before he blew out in the playoffs in 2024. And that's good to see no matter what. So, these are good developments. These are positive developments for a team, Marty, now that is 6 games over 500. Feels like it's been a minute since we've said that. I don't remember the last time they were 6 games over 500, but it's been a while. And they took the first game against the Brewers, and we'll see how they do in game number 2. And then they hit the road and see how they do in Cleveland. And all the while, we'll keep one eye, our dominant eye,
Oh,
on
yes.
Petco Park and the Padres, and our less dominant eye on the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Phillies.
Hey, and by the
hope
way,
that we can get some help from somebody.
the Rockies.
No, good luck
You want
there.
some help from the Rockies? By the way, I want to say this because, I know Scooble made his debut with the Dodgers yesterday, and there was all this buzz, right? They had to have mount a comeback win to go ahead and beat the Kansas City Royals. A month ago at this time, I think the Padres were 14 and a half games back in the West. Right now, it's down to 8.5. D-backs are 7.5. I think I have that right. I'm just saying, just as crappy as the Dodgers are playing. Maybe? Possibly? No. Okay.
No.
Fine.
But, go with it.
I'm gonna go with it. I'm
Own
gonna
it.
I'm gonna start scoreboard watching too.
Own it.
Say, you know what they don't have? You know what the Dodgers don't have? They don't have the Padres hot on their heels to force them to play their best. Right? They have this nice cushy lead, and now they're playing some terrible baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
The heat is off. I'm
we've
gonna
been
step
through
that up.
this. I feel like, even if the Padres got within striking distance,
I know.
they'll go up to Dodger Stadium for that final series of the year, and we'll all get into it.
I
like we
know.
always do.
I
Be
know.
like, "This- I got into it last year.
I'm not falling for the trap. I'm gonna go ahead. We're falling. We're gonna highlight the last series of the year at Petco Park. So it's all right, Darren. Maybe we'll catch. Maybe you and I will talk tomorrow from Petco Park. May versus Ray. Oh, can't wait for that one.
Ray, day game.
May Ray. Let's go.
A lot of stuff happening there. All right. Enjoy game number 2. Enjoyed the conversation with Kyle Hart. FriarTerritoryShop.com. That's where you can find the latest Friar Territory gear. And we appreciate his time. And I appreciate Marty's time. We appreciate your support. And we will talk to you next time here on Friar Territory.